flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get to the roll call, just make sure that your phones are either on silent or turned off. That would be most appreciative. We have a roll call.
Roll call. All right. Gaylor.
Here.
Nystrom. Here. Lemke.
Here.
Walton.
Here.
Lipnicki.
Here.
Next, approval of minutes from last month, or May 28th.
I'm making the motion to approve the meeting minutes for May 28th.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Moving right along. Any public comments not related to the items on this agenda? Hearing none, we will move on. This is going to be a public hearing for two things. The first one is 714 Willow Avenue for Scott Fraser, variance request to allow accessory structure to be used with a home occupation, and the second one is 403 Maple, the Jonah Foundation variance request to allow less parking than required by ordinance, and requests also include decreasing the 1 acre lot size requirement, and we will be doing the first one. So we have Michelle.
As you stated, the applicant, the Frasers, are applying for a zoning board of appeals application to allow an accessory structure to be used as a home occupation at 714 Willow Avenue. The intended home occupation would provide pickleball lessons, including beginner instructions, private lessons, small group clinics, and youth programming. Operations would be limited to 4 students allowed in a session at a time. The reason the application is before you is because in the home occupation regulations, we require home occupations to take place in the primary structure for a property, which is a house, another word for a house. And so we don't typically allow them in accessory structures, so the applicant is here asking for a variance to allow it in an accessory structure, and then we'll move to the Planning Commission with an application for a special use for the operation of a home occupation, because in the R1 zoning district, home occupations are special use permit requirements, so that would get reviewed by the Planning Commission and the City Commission. So I'm just here for any questions that you have beyond that.
So with that, under like descriptions of what the home occupation, does it require like a bathroom? Like when you say it's like supposed to be in a home, like what is the like this?
The limitations, it doesn't require bathrooms, it doesn't require things like that because it's considered a home occupation.
Okay.
I think the reasoning for behind putting them in the home was the ability to control. That usually you don't want large home occupations in residential areas.
Do they follow any ADA requirements? Or?
They don't have to, they're exempt from any kind of commercial development requirements because they're in a home. So a lot of times home occupations, you guys don't deal with them very much. So a lot of times home occupations are like a nail salon for like a one-chair nail or hair salon.
Where it's more one-on-one?
Where it's more a one-on-one thing or a smaller type operation, accounting businesses.
Like a hobby business or something.
So it's like
Yeah.
an RP basically in a way.
Kind of, some attorneys,
Okay.
run their businesses out of their house. So it's more like a non-intrusive small type business. And in the home occupation ordinance, they actually only allow for 25% of the house to be used for that type of business. They don't allow signage. They require, you to have enough parking. We have one dog grooming business, I think, that's a home occupation that the planning commission did last year. So it's more of a like, not a full-blown commercial operation, just something small.
Okay.
So if this was attached, it would be different, a little bit, possibly.
It would have to be living space, right?
I got you.
Because like an accessory structure can be attached or detached.
Does it,
Just-
okay, so with that, do they have to have the heating and cooling? Like, what is, like the garage usually doesn't have, like, is there requirements for that?
There's no
Like
like
a house would have that.
there's no building requirements for home occupations.
So we're just looking to approve the use of this building, and it's due to the fact that
It's,
the gentleman has a pickleball court. What he wants to do involves the court, and it's in that
It's
building.
due to the fact that it's in an accessory structure and not in the primary structure.
Yeah, it looks like it was built in 2024, and it looks like pictures that we received from you they're already doing that? Or is this?
Some of these questions you'll have to
Okay,
ask the applicant for like the details of the construction and
Alright.
when it was built and when the pickleball court was added, cause I'm not sure on all of
Okay.
those details. But
Okay.
the board is looking at, is it appropriate to be in an accessory structure versus the primary structure?
okay.
That's it.
Okay, the number of people is just information, it's not part of.
You can set, so you could set
You said it was
limitations,
gonna be,
but it also will go through the planning commission process and they have the ability to set limitations too.
Okay.
okay, thanks.
Yep.
Thank you, Michelle.
Okay, got opportunity for the applicant to make a presentation. Is the applicant, here he is. And just information, when people start talking, we'll give you a little bit. If we can keep people who, when we get into the rebuttal and the other stages and that kind of stuff, keep it about 5 minutes. But state your name, you can give what you need to give.
Okay.
And go from there.
Yeah, so my name's Scott Frazier, and I'm here with my wife, Amanda, and we built this barn at 714 Willow, which we lived right next door on 718 Willow, so it's actually on its own separate lot. And so we built this facility or barn really as an opportunity for a recreation place for our kids to be able to go and hang out in the winter and be active and not be stuck inside. And our family is obsessed with pickleball. As am I. I'm the vice president of the Big Rapids Pickleball Club, and then I became a certified coach for pickleball. And so, the request here is to really be able to do some minimal instruction in that area. There's a lot of players in our community that are looking for opportunities to get better, and this building helps provide that. And again, I have a full-time job. I have 3 children. This is really looking to do 1 to 2 lessons a week at most, and sometimes none at all. This isn't looking to be, moved as a full-time job or full-time pickleball lessons. I'm not asking for any changes to the building. I'm not looking to expand it. I did make some modifications to be able to park completely on the lot and because before there was a curb there that hadn't been cut, so people come over and play with me, and so they would park in the street. So I eliminated that to try to keep the parking off the street. This is appointment only instruction. It's not something you can just show up and see if I'm available. Everything's preset in advance. I do understand the importance of a residential area. I live in that community as well, and I want to keep it preserved as that. And I don't think that this disrupts that preservation of keeping it residential. And then there's kind of an argument like, well, if we allow this business, well, then what's the next business? And, that's why this commission exists and this board to be able to propose those, and you have the control to say like whether that's appropriate or not. I understand that the city approves these requests with conditions, and probably more the planning commission would address that part. But essentially back to what Michelle said, I can't run pickleball. I can't do pickleball lessons in my primary residence, which is why the request is to be able to do it in this building that already exists, and it was built for my family, but it has some other uses, and I have hosted some free youth clinics already there to help grow that pickleball community in the youth, and I do all that for volunteer basis. So I really appreciate everyone's time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Is this the only indoor pickleball that you're aware of?
There are a couple other courts, not so much in Big Rapids, but in Canadian Lakes area. The only other real indoor facility to use around here is the Ferris State Racket and Fitness Center. But getting in and out of there is, they have their own stuff going on, so it's somewhat challenging.
And you had, when you had this built, I think you said in 2024, this was basically for you and your family to
Yep.
do something, and you kind of thought maybe later on, oh, maybe we could do something.
Yes. Yeah, it was just built for summer to go play basketball, and at the time we were really into pickleball. I was like, oh, we could put a court in here, and so I added that court, and that was the primary intent of the structure.
And I noticed in the packet, you're looking at maybe not more than 4 people.
For max. I mean, you can't
When I
play.
talk about 4 people, I mean, are you talking about if you have kids that can't drive, obviously the parents gotta show up and somebody or whatever, that kind of stuff. But I'm kind of thinking the age range and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking of the parking type of thing.
Yeah, which is why I think 4 cars would be the max, but most of the times lessons are done in 1s or 2s. It's not always a 4-person. Sometimes you'll have a group of 4 ladies who are interested in coming, and so that could be 4 cars.
It looks like there's plenty of parking there for 4 cars.
Yes.
Yeah, I drove by and looked. There's plenty of parking.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
I drove
Speak.
by and looked at it.
Okay.
Plenty of parking.
Yeah.
And when you do these scheduling, you schedule them so like, say you'd have 4, and you have 4 people. And if you do another group, they wouldn't be right back to back necessarily,
No.
if at all.
No.
So you don't have that overlap.
Correct. Yeah, I would space them out to make sure that there's not potentially 8 vehicles at the same time. And typically they're done in 1-hour increments. So,
Yeah.
You're maybe looking at 2 to 3 hours max a week for something to happen. And then other times none at all.
How are you gonna handle the winter time? Is there gonna be enough in your driveway for winter time? Are you gonna decrease that then, or?
I plow that area and shovel it, and then the barn is heated.
More questions, anybody, right now?
No.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Opportunity for those to speak in favor of this endeavor. Is there an opportunity right now? Okay, moving on, didn't hear any. Is there an opportunity to speak for those in opposition? If I can get my English out right, opportunity for those in opposition to speak.
There was a lady with.
Yeah.
Okay, if you can, yep, state your name and, like I say, about 5 minutes or so.
My name is Donna Dracy, and I'm here representing my sister, Carol Dracy, who lives at 701 Willow Avenue, which is just about across the street. We have nothing against pickleball, whatever it is. We just don't think it should be in a residential neighborhood. We would like to see the residential part of our neighborhood kept that way without a commercial aspect to it. There are other vacant lots in the neighborhood, and as he already mentioned, what else will come along? Well, somebody could put up a barn and maybe want to fix cars in it or something like that. We don't know where it will end, but we would like this to remain a nice residential neighborhood. We were not happy to see that barn go up. I don't think it's appropriate for our residential neighborhood. That's how we feel about it, and I've talked to other neighbors also. They feel the same way. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there any other people who want to speak in opposition? And I believe we got some written material, or,
Yes, so staff has an email in your packet that I received from 714 Willow, which was opposed to the variance application. And then I also received a phone call from 713 Willow, that wanted to express their support for the applicant. So
Okay,
those two are the only
okay,
phone calls I've received.
okay. The other one in the package just says, I'm opposed to the variance to allow accessory structure to be used for home occupation at 714 Willow. Okay. The rebuttal, if you want to rebut any of the opposition, you're welcome to do that, just to clarify something.
I won't add too much to it other than to say that I really feel like this isn't going to do anything to change the neighborhood. And, she did come and approach us one day at our house to let us know how she felt. And I respect that. As we do live in our residential neighborhood, we also live on the same street as Riverview Elementary and the hospital. So I do understand that we're a little bit further down, but the traffic that already comes through there you wouldn't notice a difference in the few cars that would be coming to the court.
I was looking at some of the pictures. This looks like it's, if I understood it right, is it soundproofed?
It is all well insulated and heated.
Or soundproofed as much as you can soundproof
Yeah.
without doing it professionally?
Yes, and so the one for support, I appreciate their support. I didn't talk to them, but they live directly across the street, and I've asked them in the past, like, hey, can you hear anything? And they have, informed me that they cannot hear.
Okay.
And pickleball can be loud because I've been at the courts where the people and the neighbors behind are not happy about
Yeah,
it.
you said something about no amplified music. That doesn't mean you're gonna have music, you just won't amplify it.
There is a Google
Radio.
speaker in there that is played pretty low so that we can have some music, but again,
Gotcha.
you won't hear it. So.
Anything else?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, well, there's
Wait,
no.
wait.
Right.
Go ahead.
I'm assuming the building permitted, it's allowed, like
Yes, the
that part.
building did get zoning clearance from us and was got building permits from the county and was inspected.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right. This portion is closed. We're now going to fact finding. With interesting questions that you just asked, this has been an approved building for the structure.
And then another question I had about, like, are people allowed to put, like, tennis courts, basketball courts, and things like that in their yards?
Like outdoor?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a couple on Michigan Avenue, I wanna say down in the older section.
There is one on,
That run down.
Well, I mean, like, on a personal residence.
so we have,
And-
I
and
know
when
of
it
at
comes-
least
well,
one tennis court,
My
outdoor
question
tennis
is, when it
court.
comes to the home occupation, what if one of those people wanted to give, like, tennis lessons or basketball lessons?
They would have to go through the same process that this is going through now.
Even if it's outdoors?
Yes, because we only allow home occupations to be
To themselves.
for them, we only allow them to be in a house
In the
under our
primary,
currently.
yeah,
Yeah.
right now. I did have some other questions. So, the property, the 714 and 718, those are the ones that you own.
Correct.
It's basically a double lot, but it's two lots, but that kind of thing. And you're not gonna be selling anything, not gonna sell tennis racket or pickleball rackets or whatever. That's not the case. So when we look at 11.1, how much of this does it go by? No stock, you're not gonna display signs or anything like that.
I just worry that, I know C3 can do whatever, it's just, it's R1.
Yeah,
And that's my biggest hang up is it's an R1, even though we didn't get to approve the pet one along the path.
Mhm.
But it's also in that person's garage attached to the house, one-on-one.
mm-hmm,
We didn't get to do that because it wasn't a separate outbuilding.
I can explain
Right.
that one.
Yeah.
That one would have had to get a variance from you But what they did, because it was an attached
Right,
garage,
right,
they converted that to be
Right.
living space
correct.
for their house and then reapplied for a special use
Right.
so that it wasn't considered an accessory structure. So they actually converted their garage to living space and be included as
Have they had
part
any
of the house.
complaints? Have you heard of anything from them about, are people
I-
calling in about that one?
I have not heard from any of the neighbors.
Cause we didn't see that one, correct?
Correct. Because he ended up converting his garage to part of his house. And it got included in as being residential square footage.
But that's in our one also, right?
Yes.
That's- Okay.
And it sounds like it's not gonna, like they're gonna have tournaments or anything like that, or no tournaments or anything like that, not gonna have a whole bunch of gathering of people. But on the other hand, if one had a party, you could have a party. That had nothing to do with this, in a building, a graduation party, for instance.
That's where I'm
That's
coming
different.
at it from it. Like,
Yeah.
you can invite 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 friends over to play,
Yeah,
be hanging out and stuff. He's just trying to do it by the letter, by getting the variance, doing it correctly.
is it different if it's free? If it's free, yeah? If they did something free,
It's not a business.
That's what I mean, like,
a
if
business is
he
free,
had,
yeah.
Michelle, like, if he could have 6, 7, 8, 20, 30 people over to a house party.
I mean, our noise ordinance would apply.
Well,
like,
yeah, I know,
all
but I mean,
of our-
just saying, like,
All of our same ordinances apply, whether it's a house party or a business.
So then it would be from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. according to what you had given us, correct? And number 9?
Well,
Yeah,
it's just the
no
hours.
overnight,
right?
so,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
they-
overnight.
Yeah,
No overnight.
like quiet hours, you
Right.
know? I mean, that's another interesting thing that I had when you do something like this. What happens if they had to say donations only? Is that different? You know?
I don't know, do we put, conditions so that you only have the four
Yeah,
people? I mean,
more than 4.
I would definitely wanna say something to that effect, just so.
oh, definitely.
That could be one of the conditions.
Yeah, cause he's already said he doesn't plan on having more than 4 at a time.
Yeah, but
so-
then,
Right.
then Betty Bob Blue all shows up with her, cause I wanna watch you, and then it gets to
Well,
be,
now
you
you,
know.
now you got a tournament. No,
Oh.
not really.
It could get out of hand, I think, real quick in R1, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't appreciate it if I lived there and then all of a sudden I deal with fair stuff already, so I'm just not happy about just,
Well, I suppose a parent could show up and,
well, and watch, I guess, yeah, or have, like, if you didn't put out picnic tables, then the whole community all has like a big party at his house too on that property, cause
Yeah.
that's the only thing that's on that property,
Right.
is that building.
yeah, yeah.
So it could go, I mean, it could still, like, oh, well, you know, it could still multiply out to
But
parties.
We're just talking
Well,
about
The
pickleball
building,
lessons.
yes, exactly,
Yeah.
but,
He can do what he wants the rest
Yeah.
of the time with,
yeah,
you know, his,
My
Does
neighbor has,
he come here to have a party?
no.
Yeah,
my neighbor has a pickleball outdoor,
yeah.
and before she passed away, she had parties.
Yeah, if you're not charging for anything, it's not, like she said, it's not
Yeah.
a business.
Most people that play pickleball are not gonna be drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, being obnoxious,
you would hope not.
pretty physical.
I would definitely, but
That would be
I
true.
would feel comfortable putting conditions as the amount of people there.
So you, yeah,
Four
Plus
mean,
the
it's four
instructors.
instructees at a
Yeah.
time.
I suppose a parent could be there.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 students.
Yeah, 4
Right.
students.
There you
They
go.
gotta get there in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
Right.
Parent may say no.
Right,
So,
I would
yeah,
feel comfortable doing something to that effect,
okay, you can do that.
if I have to reread everything.
Let's wanna go through the staff analysis?
Yeah.
All right, on the staff analysis, the property could not be reasonably used for the purpose permitted in the zone. 4, since there is no actual home on the property, it creates an odd scenario for someone looking to start a home occupation there. The type of home occupation would make it difficult to be within a house. Against, running a home occupation from an accessory structure is strictly prohibited. You can get through that, when I'm looking at the whole property, it's like one whole property. You know, even though it's separated in
Right,
2 things. I can almost see that being okay.
Mm-hmm.
yep.
That the appeal results from a unique circumstance peculiar to the property and not from general neighborhood conditions. The property is unique in that it has sole accessory structure on it and no primary home. It also is unique that it is a double lot with enough space for a larger accessory structure. Suppose if he starts building something to attach, but anyway, again, there's nothing really against that. It's unique on that particular property. Any questions on that?
No, I'm good.
Number 3, the use requested by variance would not alter the basic character of the area. And he said that, for any increase in traffic could be expected to be marginal. And it sounds like you're not gonna have a whole slew of people. You can say, don't have a whole slew of people. You know,
Well,
that is a condition.
And you can have them over anyway,
You can have them over anything
Right.
except
Yeah.
for,
so it's no different to have
He's got nice parking.
students show up or.
and you got nice parking. Yeah. Against operating a business here would increase the traffic in the area. Doesn't,
I don't think it's gonna be any
Sound
more like
like-
you said than the hospital being, being there in Riverview.
Well, when I drove by, there was like no traffic today. I mean, there was nothing there when I drove through.
No school going on right now,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, I didn't
well,
see
I don't
anything.
think 1 or 2 cars and
I didn't even just
Increase in
stop to pull
traffic.
over to see if people were like looking around and nobody was around me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can agree with that one. It's gonna be even there. It'll be in like spurts.
Yeah,
You know, if anything.
and he says
You
it's a
know.
couple days during the week,
Right.
that kind of thing. That the alleged hardship, number 4, the alleged hardship has not been created by any person presently having interest in the property. Well, he built it,
Well, he got approved through the
but
county.
the county approved it.
Everything's
They said
been-
everything
yeah,
was
right.
good for the
Done
structure.
right.
Correct.
Not necessarily for the business, but for the structure. The accessory was built by the applicant. And even though that was in effect, you know, and I was just kind of looking back a little bit on that though, going over these 1 through 7, and I, you know, it doesn't look like any of those he's violating from the standpoint of the,
Yeah, I read those
Accessory
too.
structure.
Yeah, I read those too. Yeah.
questions on any of those? Do you have any clarifications? Pretty straightforward.
I would agree.
So what kind of conditions are you thinking?
I would say the 4 people with 1 instructor.
4 people plus 1 instructor? Okay.
How do you feel about it?
Parent, I mean, you know,
I'm
it
good
could be a
with that.
husband, could be a husband and wife instructor, could be the owners, if that's what it is. What do you think?
Okay, well, so we could say 4 plus.
I mean, you're not gonna bar someone's wife.
No,
I would say 4.
4
Pairs.
instructees,
Four
students,
instructees.
2 instructors.
Yeah, that would be a condition.
Yeah, we could do that.
Because if
way.
they do it together, then the 2
Right.
of them can be
It
there.
just means that you can't have 5, 6, 7, 8, and you can't have a whole school
Correct.
at one time.
Correct.
Anything else?
Not from me.
You good?
Anything else?
I'm good, yeah.
All good. Make a motion? Good.
Okay, I make a motion for 714 Willow Avenue, to approve with conditions 2 instructors and 4
Instructees.
instructees, per whatever our existing hours are, that within our guidelines that already exist, like the 7 to 9.
7 a.m. to 9 p.m.
That,
That's kind of in there.
that
So
good?
ones that are in the ordinance as a requirement, you don't have to read.
Yes,
Okay.
I think so.
I would just wanna make sure, I just wanna.
Basically, it's
read
gonna be
what it
approved
said.
with a condition of not more
Yeah.
than four
Right,
instructees, if you will.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's my motion.
I'll second.
Roll call. Gaylor.
Yes.
Nystrom.
Yes.
Markey.
Yes.
Walton.
Yes.
Lipnicki.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. There you go. On to the next one. So you guys can say,
Thank you for your time.
have fun.
Yeah.
Second, we have a public hearing for 403 Maple Street. The Jonah Foundation is having a variance request to allow less parking than required by ordinance. Request also includes decreasing the 1 acre lot size requirement.
As well as the 50-foot setback requirement.
Okay.
As you said, 403 Maple Street, Jonah Foundation is seeking to allow less parking than required, a decrease in the 1 acre lot size and the 50-foot setback that is required for institutions with human care. So similar to the last case, this case also, is going through the planning commission process because institutions for human care is listed as a special use in our zoning ordinance with some restrictions in it. The planning commission it's really loud. The planning commission had a meeting last week about the special use request. They postponed making any kind of decision because they didn't feel it was appropriate with the number of variance requests that were in the application to have a decision made before hearing from the ZBA about how they felt about the variances being requested. So they postponed their decision, brings us here tonight. The applicant is seeking to use the property as a sober living recovery home, which classifies as an institution for human care in the ordinance. The applicant is seeking to house 7 to 9 people. The requirements for institutions for human care require 1 acre in size and adequate parking, which is 1 parking space per bedroom, per occupant. There is also a requirement for the structure to be set back 50 feet from the property lines. The property does not currently meet those requirements. The property has previously been used as a rental with 3 units. 2 of those units were 1-bedroom rentals, and 1 of the units was a 2-bedroom rental. Currently, we show that there are documented of 5 parking spaces on site. I believe that the garage or carport area of the property is capable of fitting 3 vehicles. And then to the north of the garage, there's an uncovered driveway that is capable of fitting 1 vehicle for sure. I really think they could fit 2 vehicles if they pulled all the way in. And they were smaller vehicles. The right-of-way along Stewart is paved, but vehicle parking there could be intruded into the sidewalk. So you can't park, what that's saying is like, when you park in your driveway, you can't park over the sidewalk.
Right.
So if they were to pull behind that carport, they'd probably be over the
Yeah.
sidewalk.
Correct, I agree.
There is also adjacent street parking on Stewart. It is a little bit limited, and then we have our winter parking rules for overnight parking. The applicant is planning on redesigning the interior of the building to accommodate more inhabitants, and all inhabitants will live on the 2nd floor, I believe, except for the caretaker, I think, right?
So actually, we were looking for a ADA compatible bedroom downstairs.
That's what it was. Yep. ADA compatible downstairs. I'm here for any questions the staff has, or the board has. Staff would remind the board that all applications should be reviewed towards the zoning ordinance and to review it based on standards of the zoning ordinance.
So right now, as it sits, 1-bedroom, 2, and we have 5 parking. So right now, it's in compliance the way it sits.
Right, so
That's what you're telling us?
the property's in compliance for parking.
Yes.
There the property is grandfathered in for the number of inhabitants, cause it's zoned RP.
Okay,
And the RP
right.
district does not allow unrelated people to live on the
Right.
property. So it'd be single family only, or with a single other occupant.
Like
But-
our other one we experienced before. Like our other one with the RP was downstairs and upstairs.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
alright.
So this property is grandfathered in to allow the 3 units. Otherwise, it would not be permitted to have 3 separate units like it does now. So it's a legal non-conforming use. It was there before the zoning changed to RP.
And that goes with the house, the
The nonconformity goes, the legal nonconforming status goes with the house until a point in which it is changed. So if someone bought the house, renovated it to be a single family home, that legal nonconforming is gone, and a future owner could not come back and divide it up into 3 units again without going through some sort of public hearing process.
And do we know, like, has it always been the 1, 1, and 2, like from like
As far as I know,
okay.
It could have been a single family years ago.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
sure at some point it was probably a single family.
Okay.
The RP district came about in the early 2000s, 2007, 2008, somewhere in there. So it's been that way at least since then.
How do
Master plan.
their plan,
I would say the master plan is kind of looking at even changing that to maybe a mixed use.
Yeah, we're in the process of updating our zoning ordinance, but
That's different.
that's different.
how do their plan changes affect that? Grandfather, no changes.
So their change, if they were approved through all the processes and they renovated the building, they would be legally able to operate as the institution for human care. If they were to say in like 10 years they found a different spot they want to be or whatever, it would have to revert. It could either be an institution for human care, or it would need to revert to something that's permitted by right in the RP district, which right now is limited commercial and single family residential with 1 additional occupant, if it's owner occupied.
Okay. For now, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, for the applicant, make a presentation.
Good evening. My name is Amanda Hahn. I'm the Executive Director for Jonah Foundation. Honorable committee members, thank you so much for the opportunity to present our request for 403 Maple Street as a Christ-centered sober living home for men. We've spent the last 4 years painstakingly not only building a program, but a management structure and code of ethics designed to ensure health, home, and purpose. This particular property has an incredible opportunity as it is nearby necessary government buildings and services that are going to be needed by the residents that we seek to serve. As Michelle has mentioned, we are seeking to use this property as a sober living home for 7 to 9 men, which that number includes a resident staff house manager. I would like to, as I begin, just give you the opportunity to consider someone that you know who has struggled with addiction or some other life disruptive habit, and they've had their life upended or very close to it. We all know someone like that. But when people become committed to quitting that habit or pattern, but their loved ones will not or cannot provide them any supports or consistent accountability necessary for sustained long-term recovery, where do they go? We believe that you will find this request to be very fitting and forward-moving for the city of Big Rapids and Mecosta County, and upon your approval, we will close on this property and begin preparing this home as a place for healing and new life in our community and families. Often classified in Michigan municipalities as single-family dwellings with residential uses, sober living homes are non-clinical, home-like settings that foster a cohesive unity among selected, highly selected residents. The residents have one primary objective, which is to end life-disruptive habits and walk in freedom as productive citizens with healthy personal and community relationships. The residents operate as a family unit, sharing meals, chores, responsibilities, and care of the home and property. Peer support and accountability are paramount to long-term recovery, no matter the destructive pattern. Jonah Foundation's residential program is structured and governed according to the proven peer-led social model, which is recognized as an evidence-based best practice by the National Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. And per that model, Jonah Foundation's home will also be supervised by a live-in staff house manager. Founded upon biblical principles, we will also provide residents with private biblical counseling, career pathing and development, and connection and relationship with men of integrity in our community. The City of Big Rapids Master Plan designates 403 Maple Street as neighborhood mixed use. And this is not a request for a variance from the master plan, but a request for reasonable accommodations so that the zoning can be in alignment with what the city could potentially have this location become. The master plan explicitly identifies parts of Maple Street and Baldwin Street as mixed-use corridors. It states that these areas are, quote, intended to develop a consistent, cohesive urban feel along each corridor, end quote, and should, quote, accommodate a variety of neighborhood-scaled mixed-use patterns and support small-scale local developments to serve the needs of residents in nearby neighborhoods, end quote. And since 403 Maple Street falls within the neighborhood mixed-use corridor identified by the master plan, the designation applies directly to this property. The neighborhood mixed-use designation lists the following desired land uses. They include mixed uses of live and work, retail and commercial, office, attached or detached single-family residential, and townhouses. A supervised residential recovery home operates as a live-work arrangement. Residents live on site, receive integrated case management, peer support, and employment readiness services. This is functionally and practically a live-work use as contemplated by the master plan. And the recovery residence is not purely residential and not purely commercial, it's mixed by definition. The master plan further specifies that non-residential uses in neighborhood mixed-use areas should be limited to small building footprints with heights no more than 2 stories. It explicitly encourages flexibility on parking, stating, quote, when thinking about parking for residents, tenants, customers, and or staff, remember, not everyone has or wants to use a vehicle. The historically traditional number of parking spaces desired or the use of parking maximum thresholds may not be necessary when accommodating vehicle storage, end quote. One reasonable accommodation could be an agreement upon a maximum number of vehicles allowed to park at the residence. The proposed recovery residence meets all these criteria. It operates at neighborhood scale, requires no more than 2 stories, and needs significantly less parking than the current industrial zoning standards demand. And this alignment with the master plan's own specifications for mixed-use development demonstrates that the project fits the city's vision for this corridor. If there's any question about whether recovery housing fits the mixed-use definition, the master plan's stated purpose resolves it. And the plan says that the mixed-use areas should, quote, support small-scale local developments to serve the needs of residents in nearby neighborhoods, end quote. A supervised recovery residence is precisely that. It is small-scale, locally operated, and addressing a documented neighborhood and regional need for supported reentry housing. The residence serves residents. It supports employment readiness and recovery stability and strengthens the neighborhood it serves. Moreover, the master plan's emphasis on parking flexibility and the inclusion of live-work as desired use indicates the plan contemplates residential uses with integrated services and support functions and not purely commercial retail or office space. Narrowly excluding recovery housing from mixed use would contradict the plan's stated purpose of supporting developments that serve neighborhood residents. There is practical difficulty. The current zoning classifies 403 Maple Street NRP, but Jonah Foundation as an institution for human care, which triggers institutional standards. A 1 acre minimum lot size, a 50-foot setback, and hospital-based parking requirements. The property is much too small and cannot meet those large standards. However, the practical difficulty does not arise from our project itself. It arises from a fundamental mismatch between the current zoning category of an institution for human care and a small-scale, intimate, sober living, home-like residence. The institutional standards were designed for large footprint hospital and medical facilities, not for neighborhood scaled recovery residences. It would also be important to note that the property sits on a corner, and another reasonable accommodation is that emergency vehicles are easily able to access this property, and there's been no noted or reported instance where an emergency vehicle was not able to gain access to this property. And the master plan recognizes this by designating the site for neighborhood mixed use with flexibility on lot size, setbacks, and parking. And granting the variance aligns the zoning with the master plan and removes the artificially restrictive barrier to a use that the master plan explicitly supports. People with substance use disorder are a protected class under the Americans with Disabilities Act, and sober living houses are protected under the Federal Fair Housing Act as part of their disability provisions. If the city denies this variance, it maintains zoning that prevents supervised residential recovery housing for this protected population, despite the city's own master plan supporting such a development. It creates a disparate impact on people with disabilities, and the effect, whether intentional or not, is that the city's zoning ordinance keeps in place restrictive standards that effectively prohibit supported recovery housing, while the master plan signals the area should accommodate such uses. The denial would mean that the city is choosing to enforce an overly restrictive zoning over its own stated future vision, with the effect of excluding a protected population from accessing supported housing in a location the master plan designates as appropriate for mixed-use development. Approving the variance brings the zoning into alignment with the master plan and removes perhaps an unintentional discriminatory barrier to housing for a federally protected population. Granting the variance brings zoning into alignment with the master plan. It removes an artificially restrictive barrier to use the plan explicitly supports, and ensures that city code does not create a disparate impact on people with disabilities seeking supported recovery housing. And the variance requests that we have made, which are just seeking reasonable accommodations, aligns with your vision for the area and addresses a documented community need. And once again, as we think about where this place is located, it is so close to the courthouse, to 1016 recovery, and to other services that are needed, that are necessary for the population that we seek to serve. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. In your one statement, it says a sober living home does not provide treatment. So these people aren't getting treatment, they're already sober?
Correct. If they are receiving a treatment, it's an outpatient-based treatment. We're not a treatment facility, no.
So you're not dispensing medication or anything?
Correct. If they have medications, the National Association of Recovery Resident Standards, which we are seeking to employ, require us to have locked medications and to make sure that we watch even how much NyQuil people take.
And then how did you come up with the 7 to 9 like men? Like, is there like on that? Is there like a requirement you can only have 7? Like, how'd you come up with that?
Sure. So the Vision for Jonah Foundation in the beginning has always been 6 men plus a house manager. When we came into this property, it accommodates even more than that. But because the National Association of Recovery Residents requires 50 square feet per bed per room. So in measuring all of those, our smallest room is 146 square feet. So although if we were to look at our floor plan, we could accommodate 8 plus a house manager. That would be the highest we'd want to go, just for the sake of comfort. We're actually raising above that. We can go less. For the model to work appropriately, we would want to see at least 6 plus a house manager.
And I think, as I heard before, you could fit up to 12, but you're not going to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to. We want it to be.
I mean, when the remodeling and the
Yes,
different rooms and all that
exactly. In fact, when we walked through, we thought, man, we could fit 12 in here according to the standards, but I don't want people to be cramped. So we're actually doing beyond the standards and creating better accommodations.
Now, these 6 to 7 to 8, 9 men, they're recovering from just about anything that's detrimental. It could be alcohol, could be whatever.
Yep,
Right.
It could be alcohol, drugs, gambling,
Yeah.
whatever makes a wife want to
And
walk
they're not
out.
necessarily always going through the court, but they could be.
They could be, yeah.
And then they would have to meet their requirements from a probation standpoint.
Yes, and that's one of our services is probation navigation. We've worked very hard to create relationships, and we've had leadership in the probation department look over our policies and procedures and all of that, and we have come to an accord very easily.
Okay.
And these men are coming from jail or prison?
Sure, they could be coming directly from the jail. We have a ministry that works within the jail that can make relationships, understand the heart posture of each individual. They still have to go through an application process. This opportunity is open to the community, however.
Is there a time frame, like do you give them 3 months or 6 months to get back on there? Like, is there a time frame on this?
That's a really great question. We would never have someone leave the program before they feel they can walk out productive citizenship, unless they just didn't want to be there anymore, right? So if they don't feel comfortable and confident to leave, then they stay. So we didn't put a cap on how long people could stay. The program itself, the gold standard is 1 year, the platinum is 2.
So it's individuals, not like a person and their girlfriend or a person and their wife and kids. It's individual men, and they can kind of come and go as they need to go to work or
Correct.
whatever they need to do.
It
They have to check in with people. From what I understand then, is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, ma'am. So it's a home environment. What binds these men together is they are all single-mindedly headed into recovering their lives. But they go to work. In fact, we're a work-first program. So even our program fees are set according to, you have to at least hold down a 40-hour-a-week minimum wage job. And so everything that we've created is to create accountability and ensure that people don't just take advantage of it, right? They're there to do a job. They're there to but you know what I'm saying? Correct their
They all want to
lives.
succeed because it's peer reviewed.
Yes.
And which means, as I understand peer review, they're sitting together talking about what they got to do, and if someone's going to get out of line, you got some other people say, no, you can't do that. You're going to mess it up for all of us, or something like that.
Yes, and not only that, so they have twice weekly community meetings where they bring up their own personal issues, things that they're struggling with,
And then if they have noticed and have talked to one of their brothers about a pattern that they're seeing that's not aligned with either the biblical principles or the code of ethics or just their well-being, their movement toward recovery, in that meeting they'll bring it up. And the men all work, they collaborate together to assign an appropriate homework for that person, and they can either do that or leave the program. And if they continue a pattern that is not one if they continue a pattern that endangers the success of the others, the residents are able to make a request at the next community meeting that person is taken out of the house. Now, we do put together exit strategies before all this
You don't just
happens.
leave them off on a park bench.
No, that as part of the application process and the intake process, they have to provide a plan A, B, and C, and those are reviewed every 6 months to ensure that they are viable so that the next morning when the decision has been made, we can execute those plans.
Is there a minimum time that they're required to stay?
No one will be held against their will, no.
So they can come in for a couple weeks and decide they're done with that and they're gonna go off on their own and do whatever?
And we would probably prefer that. If they feel like the program, they don't have what it takes to stay focused, then we wouldn't want them to stay. They do have a time period, you know, after they get, we have a phase structure. So they do have like a big brother that comes alongside of them and helps them through some things. Plus you have the house manager and other volunteers as well in the model. So, but if they are not committed, then we would not want them to stay.
But a lot of that's done through your application process, so you're gonna get a good idea
Oh yeah.
of who they are.
Yep. There's 2 application and 2 interviews, and then recommendation letters are also, you know, not required but requested certainly. And we do have in plan, or as part of our model, twice weekly substance testing. And so we will be able to, that's part of the accountability. In fact, anybody who's on premises that day, like if I walked into the house, and I would have to be tested. So, you know, we are doing what we can to ensure that the house stays sober. And that is very important no matter if someone is dealing with SUT or not.
So the house manager would be tested too.
Yes.
You know, is the house manager a paid position?
The house manager would receive a stipend, yes.
My understanding is, one of the things you're running into is, because I did a lot of research on this, you set it up the way you set it up versus just having a house that you can rent to people who are sober, is because in those situations you'd have to evict the person. Whereas in this structure, you have a set of rules. If they do not follow the rules by being set up in the program, you're allowed to remove that person.
Correct.
Without leaving the problem person in place.
Correct.
And then by doing so, you end up falling under the rules of a hospital.
Well,
But I mean, that's generally
I suppose by the fact that we have things like basically like a case management, and we are helping people identify their career path and developing that and providing counseling and holding them accountable for staying sober and protecting them and really increasing the wellness of their life. That is what causes us to be an institution for human care. I don't know that it's necessarily the removal process, but you could school me.
no, but I mean, from what I understood, it's like a fraternity. They're supposed to be a band of brothers who
They are.
support each other, don't let each other slip. But if you have that person who's just not following the rules, not being helpful to the group,
Yes.
in a rental structure,
Right.
you have years of going to court.
Exactly.
People that get evicted in the meantime,
Exactly.
they're causing problems.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
In a program, you can just be like, you
Yes.
need to go, you're causing problems.
Thank you. Yes.
So
Yes.
you feel like you're not gonna stick, there won't be a problem person there for years, cause you're
No.
going
No.
to scoop them out.
Right.
And unlike a fraternity, I think alcohol is not involved.
Correct. Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's like a halfway house. similar in a way.
If there was a halfway house out there that was providing this amount of intimate and personalized service that is this holistic, then yes, it would be what most people would think of. And they lasted a year or two, certainly.
And then outside of like their group at the home, talking through like hard days and stuff,
Yeah.
their counseling, their services, all that are done in another location. It's not done on premises where you're doing like substance abuse counseling there.
Well,
ADA program kind of thing, or like, I mean, Alcohol Anonymous kind of program, or like.
yeah, we're not gonna have public, we wouldn't have public services within the house because that's a whole other level of security that we would need to maintain. So they'll go to their recovery meetings and things like that.
So what is this 10-16 recovery? Where's that? Or 10? When you talked about that, where's that? What is that about?
1016 it's a community recovery support service that provides counseling. They actually
You said
provide
one,
quite a
one
few.
block from that. So
Yeah.
That's, okay.
Down Stewart.
Okay.
And you got the jail, I mean, the probation officer is gonna be close by, all the other ones, you know,
Yeah.
things are gonna be close by, which is what it is, because I suspect, correct me if I'm wrong, they're not all gonna have cars, or maybe none of them will have cars.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. Driving is a privilege. It's not a right. But most of them they're not even in the position to have a vehicle and that kind of responsibility. It's actually detrimental to give someone who's working through some things to give them a car right off the rip because they can't handle that kind of level of responsibility.
So it'd be easy to integrate like a restriction of like 5 cars. Like,
That was my thought.
because you can just say like, hey,
Hey, there's no parking.
So, and, you know, as you as an executive director would come there, you know, with a car, van, or something, that's basically what you need. Is that how I kind of understand it?
Yeah.
And your person, obviously the full-time staff would need a spot to be able to park in.
Yeah, I would, if he has a vehicle that he wants to bring, sure, certainly. Right
This
now,
house is in pending, correct? Is
I'm
that-
sorry,
The house is pending, correct? Is that
pending
what-
sale,
Okay, I want to make, okay.
Yes.
I read that. I was just
yes.
checking.
I think that's it for right now.
Okay,
Ask more questions.
I'll be right over there.
Okay. Opportunity for opportunity for those in favor to speak. It looks like we have some over here, and try to limit it, or not try, but limit it to 5 minutes, please.
My name is Randy Hahn. I am the lead chaplain for McCusker County Jail, Osceola County Jail. I oversee Newaygo, Wexford, Misaki, and Clare. I sit on the Jonah board as their jail advisor. And I want to address specifically why this house. And you guys have touched on it a little bit. Individuals leaving incarceration and entering recovery are already part of this neighborhood today. This house sits roughly 1 block from the Salvation Army, the AA meetings in the old jail, Angels of Action, 1016 Recovery, probation, the courthouse, and the jail. Resources that this population already depends on and travels to daily. 403 Maple Street doesn't introduce a new population to the area. It adds structure, supervision, and accountability to a population that's already there. Residents who can walk to probation and court check-ins have fewer missed appointments and fewer technical violations leading to reincarceration. Proximity to AA, Angels of Action, 1016 Recovery strengthens peer support and sustains sobriety instead of isolating residents from the resources that they need. Curfews, sobriety requirements, staff oversight, replaced unsupervised housing and homelessness this population often faces without a structured option nearby. Multiple peer-reviewed studies, including research cited by the American Planning Association, find that find no evidence that well-managed sober living and reentry homes decrease property values or increase crime. An 18-month study of sober living residents found neighborhoods and local officials, including criminal justice, housing, political leaders, probationers, were all highly supportive of these homes, with residents showing sustained improvements in substance use, employment, and arrest rates. Removing this home doesn't remove the need. Denial of the permit doesn't remove the population from the neighborhood. It removes the supervision. The individuals this home would serve are already circulating through this corridor for court, probation, recovery support. The choice before the council is not presence versus absence. It's whether the presence comes with structured accountability or without it. And again, I have notes on the Federal Fair Housing Act, which Amanda covered appropriately.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else in favor? Okay.
I spend way too much time in this room for not being an employee. Good evening. My name is Brittany Brooks. I'd like to start by thanking our zoning board for all that they do in their time. I'd also like to thank the city of Big Rapids and especially Michelle for her continued due diligence and the incredible amount of attention she gives to not only the growth, but also the preservation of our city. I own 2 downtown businesses here in the city of Big Rapids. I own the Banded Raccoon, and I also own B&R Investment Partners located on Maple Street, just a block away from 403. More importantly, I'm a resident here in the city. I live a couple blocks away from 403 Maple on the east side. So we can agree that the decision affects me professionally, personally, but also as someone who is deeply invested in the overall success of this community. In the last year, I've witnessed the thoughtful growth that local developers, real estate agents, community leaders, investors, zoning board and committee members, and the residents have worked together to encourage consideration in zoning variances, especially with special uses that fill the needs of our community. I really encourage you to take this decision through that same lens. The Jonah Foundation does not get the credit or local support that they deserve with the restoration that they are doing in our hometown. They are working very hard every single day and usually behind the scenes to assist the lost in becoming productive members of our society. I won't go into how personal this is for me. My father was an absolute person of the system. He is 10 years sober today because of these kinds of programs. He works here in the city with us every single day. I also understand that the personal aspects and that the emotional aspects of this do not change the fact that you guys as a board have a responsibility to determine compliance in their decision. What I do not agree with is placing the special use in the same category as a hospital clinic or an institution. And I'll explain why. Being that I am a property manager, there are a few addresses in the exact same RP district, so the exact same place where this house lies, including 121 North Stewart, 117 North Warren, 116 North Stewart, 411 Maple, 415 Maple, and 129 Stewart. Out of these properties that are similar in proximity, but also in specific use, many of them have already the special uses, ADUs, or commercial improvements. That being said, there are several of them that we can rent to today to 6 or 7 individuals, could be men, could be women, and without the knowledge that we are giving them some kind of support, it wouldn't make any difference other than the fact that you know now that these people have the support. One of the things that are brought up in regards to minimum lot size setbacks, landscaping standards, and parking requirements is that this is a small scale shared house. So it actually does fit those requirements, and in some ways better than the ways that I entertain students or tenants. It removes the transportation barriers, and I won't go over the list of local resources that are needed for what they do, but they are all within walking distance, and that is really huge. And it's such a need in our community right now that we really just ask that everybody remembers that community growth isn't just about buildings and successful businesses. It's actually measured by the lives we're able to restore. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Jacob Boozy. I'm a lifelong resident of the Big Rapids area. I'm also one of the probation people that Amanda mentioned. I work in the courts here in Mecosta County, and they've already kind of touched on a lot of the things that I was going to, so I'll just say briefly, as far as the parking requirement for the variance, a lot of these folks that are going to be served by this opportunity don't drive. They just don't. They can't either afford a car, or they don't have a license, or the license has been taken away. So the walkability, very important, and kind of reduces the need for additional parking. Something that I've thought about as a Big Rapids resident is that a lot of our nice old homes are chopped up into these multi-tenant apartments. The intention that Joe and the Foundation have is to return this to effectively a single-family home. The nature of what they're doing is not quite that, but the look, the feel, all the things that are important to neighborhood cohesiveness are going to be there, including the supervision that's required. Been doing various forms of criminal justice work for 20 years. I have a lot of faith in Randy and Amanda, for whatever that's worth. I know you don't know me, but I promise you they're good people. Okay? So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we got some more, okay.
My name is John Irwin. I'm a limited licensed social worker, master's degree from Michigan State University.
Thank you.
John Irwin, social worker. I do the jail diversion program at the Mecosta County Jail and the Osceola County Jail. So I work with a lot of the people who would end up going into this house. I am extremely biased, which is why I'm speaking in support of it. And it's nice to get to be biased because I don't get to do that very often. I spend hours investing time and energy into these people while they're in the jail to get them to a point where they can be self-actualized, functional, healthy people, you know, that are part of our community who you'd be happy to bump into on the street. And I can do that because their basic needs are met in the jail, that they have what they need, that they're not reliant on family members or friends. That is the people that we release them to when they get out of the jail. We just dump them on whatever they left, and they go right back to whatever they were before because nothing has changed. That as much as I can put into them and as much work as they do, which ultimately they're doing 99% of that, I'm just, you know, nudging them the right direction to help navigate that path. But then we dump them out on the street with nothing, and people ask me, you know, what do I do from here? And there's just not anything to refer them to. We don't have anything equivalent to this that I can send them to the homeless shelter and tell them to try to not make friends. That's not great. That this would provide a really important need for the community. Like Randy said, it's not going to draw in new people. These are people that without this would be out on the street, not getting that support. They will come back into the jail, and I will have to do my job over again with the same people. And I'd love to see them pushing a stroller down the street in the park, you know, instead of coming back into the jail strung out on drugs. It's a really solid model. The peer support model's been around for almost 100 years. It's low impact, you know. I have to assume that the reason there's variances that you guys have these meetings to discuss this is that the goal is to consider whether or not it's worth offsetting the rules, that there are exceptions to that. And I really strongly believe that the upside of this is worth, you know, bending the rules on the 50 feet and the parking, that this would be a huge benefit to the community, led by a team of people who have put a ton of time and energy into this, that they're not winging it. Honestly, it seems like a ton of work that I would never do. So like, I'm inclined to think that they really care about this, to put the time and energy into it. And I mean, they managed to get me here, and like I said, I would not do it, but it's important enough to the community that, despite my own personal beliefs, here I am. So,
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Linda Miller. I'm from the Big Rapids Housing Commission. I want to thank you all for your service. This is not an easy job, and it is personal. As the largest provider of low-income housing in Big Rapids, there is a unique need for the service that the Jonah Foundation is trying to provide. The population that they work with is not a population that the Housing Commission can typically assist due to their criminal background. And not only that, but many times a large apartment complex like we have is not the best place for them to be. And a lot of times it leads to them going back in the system. In addition, these people are already in the neighborhood. We see them in our office every day. Lastly, there's something to be said about this location being fairly visible, where the community can help these people be accountable. I think that's actually, some people might see that as a negative, but I see that as a positive. Like, I plan to drive by there every day, and if something's not going right, I will be calling them because I care about this community. I also want to point out that with the current occupancy of having 2 one-bedrooms and 1 two-bedroom, the way we do our occupancy is usually 2 people per bedroom. So you can have a married couple or 2 children share a room, like I had to when I was growing up. So the way it is now, 8 people could be living there. I don't know how many people are living there right now, but 8 people could already be living there the way that it's zoned. Lastly, I just want to say, I realize the zoning board has to look at the big picture and what's best for the city, but I think this is really important. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Knock it out.
Hello, my name is Wyatt DuBois. I speak from experience in seeking resources through my own addiction and finding none. I know what it's like to be tossed out of jail with no help or resources to get clean. I wanted to get clean, but I had no idea where to even start. My journey in getting clean was a long, hard road, and it would have been easily shortened with the help of Jonah. But now, today, I'm an associate chaplain in the McCosta County Jail, and I get the opportunity to sit and meet with many men that share the same struggles that I face myself. And I can see the desire in their eyes that they want help, but they have no idea where to start either. And, just like John and them said, that they get tossed out of jail just like I was and end up right back in the system again. It wouldn't only help just the men, though. It would help their families and our whole community at large. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody? Just very briefly, my name is Gary Schuberg. I'm the present owner of 403 Maple, and I hope I'm going to be the past owner. And the reason that I am the owner of 403 Maple was because my father-in-law had bought that some 20 years ago, and he rented the upstairs. The previous lady that owned it rented the upstairs. The upstairs, although it has 2 apartments, was before any of us even existed, I believe, was a boarding house. It has never been, to the best of my knowledge, in all the stuff that I looked at, it has never been a single-family dwelling. Now, there was a single individual that lived downstairs, but because it was a boarding house, what these folks want to do with it is very conducive to that, because upstairs actually, and I've been through there many times, could be made into about 5 different bedrooms, large bedrooms. And if you wanted to take out one of the bathrooms, it could be made into 6. So this building is very conducive to what these folks want to do.
I will say this, and of course I'm definitely biased too. If I had the opportunity right now to sell it to these folks, or I had the opportunity to make $20,000 more selling it as a rental, because I've been that rental business and I don't want to have anything to do with it, I would sell it to these folks. Because what they want to do with this is very conducive to our community. And I've lived in Big Rapids all my life practically. So, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a letter written from the Reach for Recovery agency based out of Holland and Grand Haven area. To whom it may concern, I am writing to express my strong support for the Jonah Foundation and its mission to establish a men's reentry residence in Mecosta County. At present, there is a significant gap in services for men who are reentering the community after incarceration or working to rebuild their lives following substance use. A residential reentry program would provide the structure, accountability, and support that many individuals need to successfully reintegrate into society. By addressing these needs, the Jonah Foundation has the potential to improve lives while also strengthening our community as a whole. Programs like this reduce barriers to successful reentry by providing stable housing, guidance, and access to community resources. They also help address social determinants of health that can contribute to relapse or reoffending. By supporting men as they establish healthy routines, secure employment, reconnect with their families, and build positive support systems, the program can reduce the likelihood of recidivism and promote long-term success. I also believe the proposed downtown location is ideal. Its proximity to 1016, the courthouse, the sheriff's department, and other community resources creates an excellent opportunity for collaboration among agencies. This coordinated wraparound approach to care can make a meaningful difference in helping individuals access the services they need and remain on a positive path. Amanda and Randy Hahn have demonstrated a genuine commitment to serving this population. Through their involvement with the church and the jail system, they have consistently invested their time and energy into mentoring, supporting, and encouraging men to pursue healthier and more productive lives. Their dedication gives me confidence that the Jonah Foundation will be a compassionate and effective resource for our community. I fully support the Jonah Foundation and its efforts to provide hope, accountability, and a pathway toward lasting change for men in Mecosta County. I encourage your support of this important initiative and believe it will have a positive impact on individuals, families, and the community for years to come. Thank you for your time and consideration. Sincerely, Stephen Johnson, Certified Alcohol and Drug Counselor.
Thank you.
Anybody else in favor?
Hey, Dave.
I'm Dave Hamlin, a lifetime resident of Big Rapids, and I'm definitely in favor of the Jonah Foundation and this building. I know there's some issues that this board has got to deal with. The first one being the parking lot, the number of parking spaces. There's 5. I would, the number of cars, if that exceeds 5, then they'll have to find a spot to park, and if not, their car will be towed. But from what I've heard tonight, there probably won't be that many cars. The size of the lot, I would ask that that be grandfathered in, as some of the other buildings adjacent are also grandfathered in. The 50-foot setback minimum, this building has been a rental for some time. The current site allows unrelated people to live in the house. Putting this proposed use in the same category as hospitals and nursing homes seems to be an unreasonable burden. Both hospitals and nursing homes have much greater traffic in both vehicle and pedestrian, and I believe the proposed traffic pattern would be very similar to a single family dwelling. In closing, this building has been a rental business for many years and could continue on with the change of ownership as is. What the Jonah Foundation is asking is to be allowed to operate almost as the current owner is operating and has for years. But the big difference would be that there would be a person as a manager on site to make sure all the rules and regulations are followed. We asked that the lot size and setbacks be accepted and grandfathered in. Jonah Foundation has been very proactive in sharing what and why we are doing this in the community. Without prompting, the board of directors placed information sheets on the neighbors' doors and invited them to an informational session. That's unheard of. So I would hope the board would agree with those statements.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else in favor? Okay.
Hi, my name is Gail Bullard, and I am the project director for the Central Michigan Recovery and Education Network out of Ferris State University. I've worked in this work since 2016, coming here, and I've worked with Amanda and Randy since they got this idea, as she said, 4 years ago. And they came to one of our, we call ourselves CHEMRON meetings. We serve a 5-county region working with substance use disorder to decrease mortality in that 5-county region. They came to us with a big picture of a whale tail called the Jonah Foundation, and they had a big idea. We connected them with a HRSA Center of Excellence, a federal center of excellence for this work called the Fletcher Group. And they offered them free counseling, free collaboration in building a program that meets national accreditation standards. And Randy and Amanda have met with them weekly, monthly. They've been here. They've spoken for them and talked to them. They've talked to their supporters, their board, and they are building a program that is top-notch. You've heard them talk about it. You've heard them talk about the accreditation they will seek. This is a top-notch program. From a regional perspective, from a state perspective, from a national perspective, we are behind in what we are doing for persons who are seeking long-term recovery in this community, in this county, in this region. And as a result of that, you heard John Irwin talk about recidivism. I am also an RN. I can tell you that the research shows that it takes someone seeking recovery a minimum of 2 years to recovery because of the holistic recovery they need to seek. It takes their brain 2 years to heal. And so when you hear or know of people who try to seek recovery and they bounce out, they bounce back, they bounce out, they bounce back, it's that recovery piece. As you heard the young gentleman who is in recovery say, had he had a Jonah Foundation and the support of that behind him, his journey may have been much easier. And so for us to be able to go through what it takes to find a place that's as unique as this home that's become available to them, close to all of these resources, so it's very convenient, and in a neighborhood who you've heard people express that they really care about so much that some of them will drive by there every day to be sure that it's going like Amanda and Randy are saying. And so I encourage you to really seriously consider what variances it will take to make this happen. We do not have anyone in Mecosta County that houses men in recovery. We have one small house, not unlike what Randy and Amanda are asking for, that services a very few women. And so what that means is when we find someone who wants to go for treatment or for recovery,
we use city and county resources to transport them out of the county, out of the community, sometimes even across the state line if we can get them in recovery centers. And so it's important to the health of our community to have a total recovery-friendly community, to have a place. So thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Well, that took most of the room. No, that's fine. Anybody else in favor? Okay. There's an opportunity for those in opposition to speak. Is there anybody in opposition to speak? Come right up.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. My name is Tom Zerschmied, and I live at 321 Maple, which is the big yellow house. And I've lived there for 38 years. And I'm also speaking for Kathy Miller, who lives right across the street from me. And I'm also speaking for Jane Johansson. I think that there really are two issues here. I admire and I respect the Christian spirit which animates the Jonah Foundation. And I think that this is not an issue here today. I think that what's an issue in front of the zoning board is the fitness for purpose of this particular building. And I want to go through why I believe and why Kathy and Jane believe that this building is simply not fit for the purpose that they intend. There are three areas that they're asking you to look at to change the zoning requirement. And we can go back and forth on those issues. But I would rather just narrate the house for you, which I understand that you have photographs of. This is an old Victorian, like most of the Victorians in Big Rapids, which has been covered up with some kind of more durable covering. But it's been jammed into the back of its lot and pulled close to the street so that there is no backyard. So for the residents of the house, there will be no private area to retreat to. There's no backyard. There is also, on their neighbors to the east, there's probably only 8 or 9 feet till the next house. To the west, which is toward me, they are right up to the edge of their property. So there's no side yard. There is only a front yard, which borders on Maple. So the only place that the residents of the house can go to outside of the house is the front yard. Right out in front of the whole world. 7 to 9 people. There's no private outside area for them. Now, you will have to undoubtedly build buffer zones to make this more private. How are you going to do that? You're still going to have the people across the street, directly across Maple. But in the summertime, when it gets really hot, what will happen is everybody will retreat into the carport. And so you'll continually have 7 to 9 men in the carport, probably smoking, probably thinking about their problems, just as they would be out on the front yard. And this is immediately across the street from my house, immediately across the street from the side porch of my house, where my wife, who is 76, and I'm now 75, we spend our days. Now, I'm still working. And very frankly, at the heart of my wife's concern of Kathy Miller's concern, who is an older woman who lives essentially kitty corner from this house, and of Jane Johansson's concern is that these men are either former or currently incarcerated drug addicts or alcoholics. Kathy Miller has been in her house 13 years. That house was a wreck when she moved in, and it is beautiful now. Jane Johansson's house, which was the house she was raised in, is one of the most beautiful homes in Big Rapids. Now, as background, 20 years ago, the zoning in that area was changed because the landlords before were running wild. And I had in the house immediately behind me, among other characters, 2 Mexican drug dealers. And when I would come home for lunch, the mariachi music was pouring out of the back windows of that house. And in the evening, they were gone because they were out working. And when the RP was put in that area, over the last 20 years, that area has dramatically changed and dramatically improved.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. There were 2 drug houses on the block across from Jane Johansson. Very simple. The law, which is what we're talking about, is there to protect the well-being of the people who live there. Now, I'm going to explain why I don't, something that I just don't understand.
I don't know if you have, I'm trying to keep it to 5 minutes.
Yes,
And it's been about 8 minutes now, almost 10 minutes.
I understand entirely. I can conclude.
Can you wrap it up?
I can.
Thank you.
10 sidewalk pavers away from this house is a very large fraternity house. In the fall, it is the site of a very large party. Hundreds of students are there. In the street, it sounds like a stadium, cheering. The police have got a car stationed just on the other side of Maple to make sure it doesn't get out of hand. It is not every weekend. It feels like nearly every weekend. Now, I go to bed very late, and this goes on all night. I sit on my porch, and very frankly, I enjoy it. I read. I listen to I would look at my pad, I do this. I don't see how this particular house, which is supposed to be a sober living house, just 10 pavers away from this,
Okay, yeah, we'll take that into.
possibly be
Take
fit
that
for
into
the purpose that they're supposed to be fit for.
Okay, thank you.
Right?
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else in opposition to this? Hearing none. Would you like to rebut any of that on the opposition? It's up to you. Okay.
Staff would note that before you have, there's an email included in your packet from a neighboring property owner, as well as one that was later sent by the same property owner with regards to more of the ZBA's concerns in the planning commission. And then
That's this one,
Justin,
there's
right?
a Jane and Kathy, and then there's a Travis.
there's a two-page one, yep, that one.
Yep.
And then there was one in your packet from the same property owner. And then this paper is also from neighboring property owners that called staff.
Okay.
Two property owners that called staff for opposition, and the list, their opinions and concerns are listed
Okay.
for you.
Okey-dokey. Well, the open part is closed and we'll go into fact finding.
Can I just had a question?
Okay.
I should have asked you, so do you have any other Jonas houses in this area, or any, this is the first one?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
With all the other question I did have too, is some of this I want to kind of clarify. I know no drinking's allows, that kind of stuff. You don't allow that. That's part of the requirements. No firearms either. Is that a correct statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Considering that we're a state that allows that. Do you get, is there a lot of law enforcement support?
Yes, sir.
Well, it is a good organization. Tell you, I'd be remiss to say that there isn't. I've heard about them and all that kind of stuff. The things that they do, I think, are important. Having people spread out rather than together and having this peer review, I think is extremely important. I've talked to people that run the jail ministry and the stuff that they do. And I don't think I have an issue with any of that part. What we're dealing with, setback, parking, Lot size,
1
thank you.
acre minimum, yeah, 1 acre minimum
Lot size.
requirement, yeah.
How many
50
places have we done lot sizes and said, okay, whatever?
50 foot
That's, but that's,
setback.
yeah,
I think that's hard because it was built so long ago
yeah.
that I don't know if they ever came back and added more concrete.
I don't know.
Like, maybe it was 50 feet a while back, but then they, somewhere along the path, they came in, added concrete around the whole thing and added that, like, carport area. Like, I don't know where that all
Yeah,
fell into of not, you know, like, adhering to that 50-foot setback. Yeah.
Concrete doesn't count, structure only
So,
for setback.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the carport area would be considered structure, so that would count. But
Yeah, like wherever that, did it at the beginning of that, like when they first built it, or did they add it on, or?
I have no idea.
Right. And the parking requirement always seems to always be our nemesis here.
But it doesn't sound like there's gonna be a parking issue for
Correct.
them.
Right.
And if they use it for what this is, and correct me if I'm understanding what we said earlier, or heard it the other place anyway. Say they only need 1 car, okay, forget about it, even though there's either 5 or they want 3 or whatever the case is. For this particular type of business, if they sell it, whatever happens goes out, then it goes back to the original. Because if it's into a rental type thing or something else.
No.
No?
That's not 100% correct. If they were approved, it can't, and they renovated it, it can't go back to being a 3-unit rental.
Okay,
But it could be whatever is listed as permitted uses
okay,
in the RP district, which is single family. It also would be approved for other types of, I always screw up what they call it, the inhabitants for the care of people.
okay.
Would that go back to?
Institution for,
Human.
So would that,
For
would
human
that require different parking though, Michelle, then at that point again?
it would depend on what that program or what that
Okay.
business or what, right, but like, it would, variance and special use would move with property.
Right,
It's not specific, variances aren't specific to people,
right.
they're
Specific to
specific to
property.
uses and property.
Okay. So if a different use was for, then that would be, they'd have to do a variance on that. That's, if it's a different use,
If it's a different use.
that makes sense. So we can give a variance, there could be a variance for the parking, and then if there's a different use for it later on. they'd have to
Right,
go
that's
through.
how we put like you know, I guess be considered a condition at that point again.
Yeah.
You know,
at
just
that
so
point.
that it.
That wouldn't be a condition, that's just
Yeah.
legally how it works.
Yeah. My guess this is gonna be a long-term situation, knowing people in the county, that I don't think they're gonna go away anytime soon. That's my unfortunate personal opinion, but I don't mean to interject that too much. It's really, sometimes I look at something like this, and we have all these ordinances and all this, and now we're trying to put a square peg into a round hole, or vice versa.
Would this fall under that unrelated people again, like we talk about all the time?
So,
Like the 6 though would be
that's what the rental falls under now. I mean.
7 would be 7 unrelated people though.
But we're looking at this almost like a family.
But-
As they mentioned,
so it is
Considered
7,
a rental?
huh?
Would this program be considered a rental?
It would not
I
qualify.
didn't think so.
It would not qualify as our rental
because they're buying them.
Yeah.
because it's the care of, right, it's not just a rental, there's care of people and there's an overseer living there.
And I go back to thinking that we've got this one ordinance that applies to hospitals, applies to nursing homes, applies to other things, but then when you, as it was mentioned to them, it gets to a small, and I guess we would classify this as a small what? Small business,
Small scale support service.
small scale support services, thank you very much. it's on a small, it's almost like, I don't know if they thought about this when this ordinance was made. Okay, so we have this one ordinance. You know, and if it goes through, I think ordinances can be changed. That's what we're here, that's the name of our business here.
Right.
Is maybe at some point, there can be a subsection of that it can be worked on. I don't know, and I'm not trying to.
So I had a question too.
Say
If
anything, but
the
I'm just-
management
that's
person
the
that's
issue.
on site is there all the time,
Yeah.
and they see the people or the men out in the carport getting unruly, I would think they'd have the authority to call the cops. Is that how you would take it?
I can't imagine with this type of program
Yeah,
that
I'm
they
just
wouldn't be
asking.
doing that and congregating out in the carport when they got a nice home they're gonna be in. And I don't know, I don't think you can, get rid of smoking, but there's not gonna be any drinking, cause you can't.
Right.
The fraternity thing,
So that's gonna happen.
they're not gonna congregate, they're not gonna be invited, and they're not gonna go down there, and the case manager not gonna let them, and it's not gonna happen, because now we get this peer review thing.
Right.
I don't think that's an issue.
Well, I don't suspect they're gonna be doing anything that people who are renting it now are doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they'll probably be doing it
Less than.
much less
Yeah.
than.
Oh, probably.
In the way I understand this. It's like being an umpire. You have this rule, but sometimes there's a judgment call. Yeah. And when you look at this, what they're trying to do, and you stack up all the things that they're trying to do, then you have this one over here. How does that fit? That's why I'm looking at it.
We have done in the past about putting like fencing up around anything. Is that?
Yeah, I've been to the property. There is tight spaces.
It's
There-
tight, I know.
It depends on the type of fencing. Can you put up a wood
Is that?
fence?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Could that go around here, Mark?
I'm
What?
just asking.
We allow fences right on property lines, or within, if you don't have neighbor sign off, your fence has to be 6 inches off the property line. So we allow fences very close to
Yeah,
property lines.
And I walked that property the other day. Ain't nobody gonna walk back there very, very often. And if there is a fence and it's 6 inches that way, on their property.
I guess would it help satisfy the neighbors? I mean, just so.
Right across the front so that Mr. and Mrs. Ursmeet and Mrs. Miller didn't have to see what they
So the
think they're gonna see.
front can only have a 4-foot
Yeah, you
fence
can't
by
have,
ordinance.
you can't have that,
But on the other side there, I think a fence that is really close to the house next to.
it'd
I
have to
don't
be.
know that you'd need one on the
But
side.
I
It's
just
the
keep
front
coming back
where
to the fact that they're renting it right now.
Yeah.
They're only changing it so it fits their program. It's like you have 6 of these guys and
Yeah,
6
6 or
other
7 or
guys
something like that,
rental.
and they're going to be,
I mean, for the fence, it's like,
Even if they
you
sit
don't need
out
a fence
the-
now for the rental. It's just
these
a,
guys are,
I'm
they're
just
gonna
throwing
be
it out
adults,
there.
and they're gonna be
no, I get
working,
what you're talking about.
they're gonna be working 40 hours a week. And they're gonna wanna come home and eat, rest, and they gotta get up the next day, especially if it's a first.
As a part of the program.
Yeah, it's all part of the program. I don't know if they're gonna have all that much time, and some of the stuff they like to do nowadays, you're gonna, play a video game or something like that, or whatever they call it now. Old school. But anyway, I'm just kinda thinking that.
I think we need to get back to like the zoning regulations
yes, I
and
get
what
that.
those rules are and where you see appropriateness or non-appropriateness for those rules.
Well, can we do the parking requirement?
Yeah.
Make my notes.
I thought we already had.
There's room for 5.
Yeah, I thought the
cars,
parking was
so-
already a kind of a
And
non-issue
It's
anymore.
not like they're gonna have any, they're not gonna have 5.
No.
We're
They're not
not
gonna
doing
need 5.
fencing, you don't wanna do anything with the setbacks. The requirement, 50-foot setback requirement.
Yeah, when you look at the picture, it's like, somewhere out in the middle of the road.
Yeah. Then there'd be the 1 acre.
Yeah, and
requirement.
none of those homes have 1 acre, around there, and when you again weigh that against the, can we bypass that? Can we say, yeah, that, bypass? Can we have a variance for that, considering the location application and what's being offered? I think we could.
Yes, I agree.
Because it says the parking area needs a variance needed.
Yeah, I mean, again, if it's not needed, hardly at all. What are you asking for on the parking? Just to.
I believe in the staff report,
Yeah,
it
we're
says
asking to waive that.
Well,
that
it's,
we have 5 spaces now, and if they seek to house 7 to 9 people, including staff,
Right, we have to
house
change it.
manager, the requirement
Right.
would be 5 to 7 spots would be required.
That's what
We have
the
to
variance
change
is.
it, yeah.
It's one,
Yeah.
Right.
is the variance because under that designation, they need like 1 spot per bed and
Correct.
1.5 for visitors?
Yeah, correct, yeah. That's why
Yeah,
I brought up the parking.
like for a hospital, how you
Yeah.
need not just for the patient, but the family and the doctors.
Yeah, and I'm not sure there's gonna have it quite like that.
So I'm comfortable with the variance on that and making it 5.
Yeah.
I don't think we can really add
Is there-
any more
is
on
there
the
a
property.
curfew?
Yes, sir.
Okay. They have a curfew too. So I'm assuming at some point, if they had visitors, are visitors gonna be allowed?
Visitors are allowed, but they also have a jettison time. They have to leave the property no later than 9 p.m.
Gotcha. So that kind of thing, I mean, during the day, during the day, you can park on the street. And I can't imagine you're gonna have 7 people with all their families coming over all at once, if they have families. Logically speaking.
It'd have to be street parking, I mean, at some point, there's
What's
no
that?
other way around it, there'd be just on the street.
Well, some people park in.
I mean, there's no way around that.
Yeah,
I mean, you're talking
well, you can park on the street.
14
during the
people
day.
if they all bring 2 people.
But I don't think they're gonna. Just knowing how this,
I would do, my suggestion would be the variance for the parking, just so it keeps it in line.
yeah,
I mean, not keep
What?
it in line of the 7 to 9 people. So it's the 5 people, the 5 right now.
right?
I cap it at 5.
Cap it at 5, yeah.
Cap it at 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
you mean
Well,
cap,
cap what at 5?
yeah, I
The
don't.
parking, the number of parking.
So you're not, I mean, there's
No, that's not it.
5 spaces there,
That means you can only have 5 people.
so I'm not clear on what you mean by when you say that cap it at 5, like you're comfortable with the variance for 5 parking spaces
Yeah.
instead of the 7 to 9 required?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what,
Yeah.
That would,
Definitely,
okay.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So if they're
great.
doing the 7 to 9, then there's denial because it's not part of that RB
Right, so the variance
requirement.
would be there's 5 parking spots,
Correct.
but we're
Right, you have
allowed-
to give them a variance because they require all those
Yeah, they
extra
wouldn't
parking.
need to.
7 to
They would need
9,
more
right.
parking.
If
I
you're
would just
having
restrict it to 5.
5 parking spots,
No.
not restricted.
No, not restrict, we're saying that we're gonna allow 9 people or 7 to 9 people.
Yeah.
And normally would have to have spots for 7 to 9 people.
You don't, the people aren't, you would just be approving a variance
For the parking.
for the parking that's provided.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
that's okay.
Article 5.
okay, I got it.
Yeah, for the 5 that are
And then
available.
we have to,
It's just the wording.
Oh, yeah, no, I get it.
then we
It's
have
gotta be
to
precise.
Yeah,
say something about the 1 acre also on the 50-foot setback that
Haven't had much discussion on that.
yeah, that's what I'm saying,
yeah.
we have to let that, we have to say, we're allowing,
It's almost
Not to have the setback.
not allowing to have it,
It's not required,
not required, or something to that effect.
isn't that correct? That's what we're,
You
that we would.
Structure of it, how it
setbacks as they are.
Yes.
Yeah. And the 1 acre would be the same thing, the minimum requirement, which, cause it's whatever ends up being. It's not 1 acre. It's only
How would they have to be?
4,791 total square footage.
So you don't have, when you make a motion,
Yeah.
you don't have to list
Specify
like what
each
you're
one?
allowing.
Okay.
You would just be approving or denying the variance as presented based on the findings that you're
I didn't know if we
finding.
had to specify every one of those. Okay.
No, cause their application specifies what they're asking for, so that's the standards they're held to.
And there's also on the side where there's a whole bunch of bushes that are pretty well set together. That's almost like a fence. Go through that, you're gonna get cut up. But they're not gonna run off. That's not the way that the thing is designed. That's not the way the thing works. So
assuming-
going back to the variances, or going back to the way it is, if this house works for them, I think it's good. On us, we allow the variances to go through.
Yeah, I'm assuming that you're gonna run it similar to I believe it's a house in Remus, where they do, for women, they have,
Talking Hersey House of Hope? Are you talking Hersey House of Hope?
I think that's it.
Sisters of Sobriety.
No, Sisters of Sobriety.
Is it Sisters Sobriety on State Street?
No.
That Stonehouse?
Stonehouse.
Yeah, Stonehouse, that's the, on State Street across from.
They also
Grumps.
have one, they've had one long-term in Remus.
Yeah,
Yeah, in Grumps, there's the girls' house at Stonehouse.
so it'd be similar
Then at some
operation.
date in the future, I mean, if this goes back to mixed use, or when that stuff changes, that's them. We're here to, can this work? Can we allow the variances?
I think we can if we do the,
I agree.
with the parking, that's all, just to specify it for 5.
Okay,
What's available, like.
It's available right now.
okay. Someone jot that down for a motion.
I motion
It's
that
in the
we,
packet.
We have to go through the plus and the
Oh, yeah, we can,
Oh.
well, if we want to do that. Yeah, no, thank you. Let's see if we've at least come through, get the right one.
You want mine? Am I
no,
doing
it's
it?
this one that she's talking about.
Yeah.
Here,
Oh,
I have it.
it looked different from him.
I got it. Here we go, I got it. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. Appreciate the purchase agreement. Didn't understand it, but I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I just paid off my house.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, there we go. The ordinance restrictions of number 1, the staff analysis of standards. The ordinance restrictions unreasonably prevent the owner from using the property for a purpose permitted. For although the applicant falls under the institution for human care, it will operate more like a single-family home. And that's what they're saying. Although the parking could still be an issue, the acreage and setback requirements fall more in line with a single-family use. And if we look at it that way, okay. Against, the institutions for human care are only allowed as a special land use in residential districts. Even then, the lot available here is much smaller than the requirements. It's not a hospital. It's not a nursing home. But that's the only ordinance there is. The variance would do substantial justice to the applicant and possibly other property owners in the district, and a lesser relaxation of the regulations that requested would not provide substantial relief to the property owner. Although the applicant falls under institutions for human care, it will operate more like a single-family home. That's kind of like, to me, that round hole in a square peg or something. Although the parking could still be an issue, the acreage and setback requirements fall in line with this, just like number 1. Against, the property has no room for the required size dimension for institution of human care. Yeah, it's a home. I can get through that with the variances though for what they're doing. The plight of the property owner is due to the unique circumstance of the property and not a general condition of the neighborhood. The property was built on a small lot and the house was built close to lot lines long before the Jonah Foundation decided on it. Yep, I get it. Lot sizes RP zoning rarely go over 1 acre. But based on the applicant's desires to operate in the walkable area near services, there are few lots over 1 acre near the downtown. Against, the RP district lots range in size. Some of the lots would be more capable of adhering to the size requirement. So I need to ask a quick question. Have you looked at other places in Rome?
We have.
This is the one that perfectly fits.
Sir, we can afford this house without taking out a mortgage.
Perfectly fits mine. The alleged practical difficulty has not been created by any person having an interest in the property. The applicant did not build the house or set the rules. Finding walkable property near services that meet the conditions of the ordinance is unlikely. We have some recommendations, or we can, well, the recommendation is they got it up to us. We can approve. An approval motion is appropriate when the application meets the standards, and we got all of that. Approval with conditions. Okay, if we do approval, the motion approves the application moved for that one. Then with the conditions, we gotta find out the conditions. One of them would be the parking.
Parking the way it
Fine,
is.
keep the
Yeah.
parking the way it is.
Yeah.
Would a 4-foot fence?
What's that?
Would a 4-foot fence be high enough if they're sitting out on their porch so that would satisfy them that they weren't
I don't
seeing the
I don't know.
guys out
Would a
there?
4-foot fence work?
So the 4-foot fence is only is for front yards and
So that's
side.
right on 20.
It'd be on Maple, and because it's a corner lot, it would be Maple and Stewart.
Right.
The 6-foot fence would be like
Behind.
from the carport
All the way to that walkway.
to the back property corner, and then they could also do a 6-foot fence like
Between
from that
houses.
back property corner between houses until you hit the front of the house, and then it has to drop to 4 feet.
We want fences. Could work.
I don't know, are you planning on, taking out those bushes along that line? Are you remodeling it, are you doing anything out front with the landscaping?
I'm sure that there will be something nice, sorry. I'm sure there's something nicer that'll be there.
Are you planning on removing all of those corner bushes, all that
If we
hedging?
were to remove them, we would replace them with something that is more, just nicer.
I mean, cause you could, if
A 4-foot fence could be.
well, if we did that, then they could have an area to, if they filled up all the parking at some point, possibly to make them, positive with moving forward.
Yeah.
And they'd have maybe a garden area, they could do gardening, if they liked to plant garden or something out front, or but they could enclose that whole area with a 4-foot fence.
You could do the option of 4-foot fence or landscaping buffering.
Okay.
Yeah,
If you
that's
don't want to
what I-
decide between the two and leave it up to them, landscaping, they could actually go taller, cause we don't.
Probably even be
Yeah,
better.
the shrubs that go way up.
I think that we should accommodate, I think we should do something to give them some privacy.
Yeah.
But the privacy, when I looked at the privacy problem is really this house right here.
Behind them.
Yeah,
I don't think anybody in that part of the neighborhood is having an issue like they are across the street. I was just thinking to help appease
The
them.
neighbor, are you talking about the neighbor to the direct north?
There's-
The
Yeah.
little white house?
There's.
yes, the
He
little.
was at the planning commission.
Did he send us a letter or
I
anything?
think I know.
He
who
did
you're
not
talking
send a letter. He was at the planning commission and did express some concern of noise and items like
Noise,
that.
but.
I just gotta believe you're gonna have quiet time, you're gonna have rules, you're not
I
gonna
would
have
just maybe do
parties.
something out the front, just so it gives them maybe, they don't feel like they're in a fishbowl being at M20, it gives them something to go to and maybe feel more secure.
So your conditions that you set have to have a reason to, one of those 4 reasons listed under the conditions: ensure the public services and facilities affected by the proposal land use or activity will be compatible. Protect the natural environment and conserve natural resources and energy. Ensure compatibility with adjacent land uses and promote the use of land in a socially and economical desirable manner.
Right,
So
yeah.
when you think of conditions and how you word your conditions, you need to do it in a way that's
Gotcha.
meeting one of those 4. It doesn't mean you can't have them, but they have to be for
Yeah.
those 4 issues.
So
Would that be number 4 then?
from the front,
From the
I mean,
socially and
protect the
economic.
natural environment, you could have a fence or bushes or natural. natural barricade, I guess, buffer.
And then, sure, I think a
fence would
family
not be very pleasant to
What
look
kind
at.
of a fence? You can get some
compatibility
nice
with
fences.
adjacent use of land.
Well, Mrs. Miller has a fence on the other side of the
Yeah.
road right there.
Yeah.
That's kind of kitty corner. It's a nice white fence. So there would be,
I would approve it as the way it is. That's just me. Cause they're gonna remodel, they're gonna put it, and they're gonna have to go through the planning department
They'll probably
for
have
more
their-
stuff.
They'll probably have their stuff.
I just approve it.
What?
Yeah, I agree.
I would just approve giving them the variances on all items.
But with the parking maybe?
Parking is part of that, yeah.
Yeah, park is part of that.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
So, if we don't have the conditions,
I think they should try to, I mean, I think this is a fabulous foundation. I'm all for it. I think it's great, but I think that, you know, there are other people in the community that need to be taken into consideration.
Well, especially when we got
And-
3 sheets here of people that are not really.
Yeah, and
for
even
it.
if it, I don't care, if maybe you can plant some of those shrubs that go up so that, you know, they don't have to, I don't personally see that there's gonna be anything that I know they're concerned about, but they are elderly women and they're worried. And so if that helps them to, you know,
Well, we could do, we could
realize
word
that
it like
it's gonna
Michelle
be
said, they
okay,
could pick either one, they could
you
do
know,
a nice.
a fence, shrub, something.
I think that gives them a nice area, personally, to give them like a social, like an area to go and be social amongst themselves and not feel like
And
they're
not
in a
have to-
fishbowl
Exactly.
on 20.
Yeah.
okay, so we approve.
I would feel like, yeah,
Right,
not. I
but
would
that's not a reason to add
No,
a
I understand that, but we can do the land of, we can pick one.
protect
Protect the
neighboring
natural
properties.
environment.
Yeah,
conserve
that's what I
natural
say, yeah,
resources and
adjacent.
energy.
We can't say it that way to protect the neighbors.
No, that is a reason.
Yes,
Oh,
okay, right there, go on, you read it, you go with it.
But that we approve it with the stipulation,
The conditions
condition.
with,
All right, so I make a motion that we pass, that we give them the variant. The parking is
5, the way
five
it's
as is, with their 7 to 9 residents, is that what you call them, men.
With
And then
one-
with the stipulation that you either put a 4-foot fence on Maple Street or please plant shrubs that, just to help the neighbors to
Go
be,
with the
you know,
the landscaping
have
of
the,
the landscape.
accept it and feel comfortable with it, cause it's gonna be a great thing. I have a nephew that died from alcohol poisoning, so you guys go.
No, yeah. The ensure capability.
So
of
she has a
adjacent
motion
uses.
on the table.
I know,
Yep.
ensure capability with adjacent uses of
just-
land.
Does she have a second?
I have a second.
Roll call.
Alrighty, Gaylor,
Yes.
Nystrom,
Yes,
Lemke,
Yes.
Walton,
Yes.
Lipnicki.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Just say yeah.
Is there any new business that we need? Are we done?
There is no unfinished business. I can give you a quick update if you want on our
You guys
zoning,
can certainly say if you want. You can-
zoning ordinance.
You
I,
can leave if you like. and
I won't make it long.
Okay, go on.
Our steering committee for our zoning ordinance is almost done. We've probably got like 4 or 5 more meetings.
Wait, you can tell them to get outside. You can tell them to go
Yeah,
outside.
yes.
Sorry.
We hope to be done and adopted by December. That's our goal.
Okay.
So our steering committee is still meeting. We've got a couple articles left to do. And then we have started taking it section by like 2 to 3 sections a month at workshop meetings with our planning commission so that they can review it. So we're not going through like a review of the whole ordinance at once. They're going well. There's been lots of work on clearing up some of the issues that we have and also getting us to be more in line with what is legal and how we do, how our ordinance is written in some spots.
Are they still gonna do like the public, session of that or anything?
For adoption, we have to have a public hearing. We haven't decided yet how, like if we're gonna do an open house and then do a public hearing, or how we're gonna manage that. We did our public listening sessions already. It was unfortunate that it was the worst snowstorm we had that winter. But we still had like 20 to 30 people.
I know, I wasn't in town for it, I would've came.
Yeah, it was a decent turnout.
Close.
So, and then we did some other listening sessions with people. So we've already done like the public input on that portion, but we do, for adoption, you have to have a public hearing. So we will have to take it before the planning commission for a public hearing, and then the city
We can
commission.
come listen to that too if we want to.
You can listen to that too. That's why we're doing it section by section with the planning commission to review thoughts and concerns and things they would like to see changed.
Yeah.
Because it's too much to go through a 300-page document at a public
No, I get it.
hearing.
Which is why, that's why it's taking, so long. Yeah, I get that.
It's really hard to just go through like 2 or 3 sections. By the time you're done with it, like everyone's burnt out.
Yeah, you guys look like you're ready to just be done with those meetings.
Yeah, it's just lots of brain power. But they're going well. Overall, it's going really well.
Good.
So that's the only update I really have.
All right.
Okay.
So you can turn that off. Now, I have this weird, stupid question. Did you turn everything off? Okay.
It's not, yeah, it's not recording.